This message is brought to you by Public Health, Seattle and King County, the Washington Department of Health, Washington Chapter AAP, and Within Reach. No matter where your classroom is, whether in person or online, routine vaccinations protect your child from serious diseases like measles, mumps, and chickenpox, and they keep your child safe, healthy, and thriving. Need help finding a provider? Visit parenthealth123.org or call the Help Me Grow Washington hotline at 1-800-322-2588.
Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station.
This is Cindy Bray, the host of Heartbeat Radio.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star
This
Time.
is Paul Schneider today on the 73rd edition.
Hey, y'all, welcome to
Rainier
Travelers
Avenue
Guide to
Radio.
Venus and Mars. Princess Robin.
Mothers. Yes, no big deal.
Your home for information about the impact of the
And
coronavirus.
amongst many things that's difficult about this virus is that it's
Well, it's been devastating. There are really heartbreaking stories of people who have.
There isn't anyone that isn't impacted.
Shutting our schools down, including all athletic programs.
Your first-hand accounts.
I did take the test and I found out that I was positive.
A lot of people who know me, I'm still the first person they know.
But it was almost like you were patient zero for South Seattle. Your stories of community coming together.
Partner very heavily with Tacoma Urban League, who is doing some amazing work in response.
We're doing things for small businesses. We're giving out loans for small businesses.
And so I think it's very important that we have leaders who feel
I mean, I cannot tell you, we're calling 20, 30, 40
this
members.
crisis in our community. We've been working to address it.
Rainier Avenue Radio, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
DJ Dirty John.
Karen Z with Rainier Avenue Radio.
Sergio Cool. RainierAvenueRadio.world. RainierAvenueRadio.org. We got you covered. Local impact, global presence.
Broadcast. Welcome to RainierAvenueRadio.world and our weekly coverage of the impact on communities. This is a continuation of our series. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us again here. And then again, now we are aware of the fact that we are and more folks listening to that.
Rainier Avenue Radio.world is your 24/7 digital media hub. Tune in at Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and TuneIn apps.
Well, hello there, world. Bettina, Carey here, and thank you. You're tuning in to Rainier Avenue Radio, where we help you to shatter the glass ceilings in your life. That's with an S, because what we know is that glass ceilings are meant to be shattered, not just broken. If you ask most people if they have adequate support and mentoring in their leadership, their love, their life, most people are likely to say no. Why go it alone when you have and should have mentors who can help you to succeed along the way? When you don't have the support you need, it's going to be expensive and very costly because it costs you both time and money. And as you're going into the abyss, trying to find your way to learn and grow, you're going through the school of hard knocks. And now, today, we're going to be having a wonderful guest, Zenovia Harris, the CEO of Kent Chamber of Commerce. And she's going to be helping us to build our own personal board of directors. That's your own personal board of directors, not the board of directors that you usually hear about. A little bit more about Zenovia Harris. Zenovia is an experienced in operations, community engagement professional, has demonstrated history of working in the public with organization management, and she is skilled in portfolio management, program design and implementation, business development, and data analysis. As a professional, she has a master's in public administration, and she is a force to be sure. As a commissioner, chair-elect for the City of Kent Human Services Commission, she consistently evaluates nonprofit agencies against their mission, their vision, to ensure that grant funds are properly being used. And she offers a unique combination of creative and analytical talents coupled with the ability to assess multiple vantage points to deliver effective solutions for internal and external business partners and clients. Welcome, Zenovia. It is so wonderful to have you here today.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, you know, that saying that comes to my mind is very fitting here today. And it says, when you want to go fast, go alone. When you want to go far, go together. And today you're going to be sharing with us how you can align your board of directors to help you to achieve success. So my first question really relates to how that personal board of directors has helped you to achieve your success and your personal success.
Yeah, thank you so much again. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today and also to be speaking with the audience next week about creating your own personal board of directors. And so I just want to slow that down a bit and just separate myself, Zenovia Harris, the CEO of a chamber, who by nature, because it's a nonprofit, I work with a board of directors. But I'm talking about this personal board of directors that's going to help you hit your own personal mission and vision. And we all have it there, right? So when we're looking at your personal mission and vision, it is very important that you create and build up this board of directors that can help you make decisions along the way. No one is going to get where they need to be alone, and there's no shame. There shouldn't be any shame in that. And so I've kind of built up this board of directors of people that I can go to help me make decisions. It's shown up in my life both personally and professionally. And so I'm excited to really just unpack that with you today.
Yes. And give me a personal example where a board of directors might have helped you with a particular challenge or that you were going through, especially now during COVID.
Yeah, so this was pre-COVID, but I think it's very important because it really was a pivotal moment in my career. And I think a lot of us will do this. And as we're talking to women, and thank you so much for our allies for listening as well. But I was one of those women that if I didn't hit the job description, every single thing on the job description, I just would not apply for the job. And this is where my board of directors really should take some credit and be happy that they pushed me through to go from a leader in an organization where my title was manager to a CEO of the chamber. And the way I'll give you the short story, essentially I got a message and said, hey, there's this job opening. There's job opening. I looked at it and I said to myself, Zenovia, how dare you go from being a manager to a CEO? There are steps to that. You should probably be a director. You should probably work in nonprofit, right? So I talked myself out of this job. And then I said, well, let me just do research because maybe the person who I am innately is supposed to be a CEO. So I started to do research on the industry. When I started to do research on the industry, I found more information that really detoured me from applying. And it was they're just now accepting women in these positions. And then, wow, there's really no Black women in these positions. And then I drilled all the way down and found a Black woman that was in that role currently. And she happened to be a former mayor of a city. And I just closed the app and said, oh no, they're not looking for me. I'm not qualified. And then I thought, well, I better start reaching out to my friends. I've reached out to colleagues. I've reached out to family, my husband. And believe it or not, I reached out to people who have tried to hold me back in the past, and this will be crazy, but you need that person with that bias against you. And the reason you need that person with the bias is so that you can see it before it's in the interview room, or you can see it when you don't get the job, right? So you kind of put it in front of you. And so I reached out to all these people. Long story short, they all encouraged me to keep moving and kept saying, men would do it, Zenovia. They don't need to hit all of the bullet points on this job description. So just go for it. And here I am today, first African-American woman to lead the chamber in that CEO role in its 70 plus years. So if it weren't for my board of directors, I probably would still be the manager at the university.
That deserves a round of applause.
Yeah,
it's so interesting that you reflect on this particular area. And I find this to be a big challenge for women, where we always want to have like 100% of the list of requirements before we make the application, whereas men don't seem to have that limitation. And that's a really big factor. So, but what I found really interesting in your story is that you like to have a devil's advocate in your corner as much as you like to have the cheerleaders. And most people say, oh, do away with all of the devil's advocates and only have cheerleaders. But I love that they're the ones who are helping to guide and shape you in terms of like being in the preparation side of things. So that's a good role for them, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a good role, and it's okay. And what this this biased person said is, I can see this for you in the future. And so they don't get to dictate my future. I just need them to see what I don't see in myself. And so since they saw it for me in my future, I figured, well, my future is today. I'm not asking for permission to do this. I'm just thinking, checking in with you to think if you think in the future I can do it, then for me, I can do it now. And that's really what that biased person is for. You don't want too many, right? You don't want everyone knocking you down, but you want to, like any board of directors, even for an organization, there are bylaws, right? So you stay in this lane to make sure you're compliant, which in your life just means you're true to yourself. You're true to your own vision and mission. And that's what they're there for.
Yes. And, I have a mantra that I live by, which is you only get in life what you have the courage to ask for. So ask for more everywhere in everything that you do. And you just totally told a story about asking for more in your life. You didn't have to take a bunch of stepping stones. You just went right for the big deal and the big results. And you're doing a phenomenal job from what I hear in the community. In fact, our colleague and friend, Blake Messer, who threw me your way, is just, I got to thank him because I know we're headed into a very strong partnership. You mentioned that you're going to be a speaker at the We Empower You Summit next Wednesday. And tell us a little bit more about what folks can expect to learn and grow within that same conversation about having your own personal board of directors.
Yeah, so I am working on a workbook, and it is creating your own personal board of directors. And so next week, folks will get an understanding of what does this really mean and what is the impact. And that's what's going to be most important. The workbook won't be available, but the knowledge about why it's important, and then who should have a seat on the board of directors. That's also very important. And I'm not I do understand that some people are thinking, I don't know if I have qualified people to be there. So we'll talk a little bit about mentorship and its importance, and sponsorships. And as women, we just have to kind of open our arms to other women who are looking to lead. And so I'm going to talk a lot about the difference between being someone's mentor and being their sponsor. And that is a conversation we'll have there as well. Now, once you have this board of directors, really, when do you tap into it, right? This is not a constant everyday decision that you go to your board. These are life-changing mission, vision type decision making that you go to. So we'll talk a little bit about that. The difference between this is a decision that I sit at my dinner table with my family versus this is a conversation I start to go outside of my family and I start talking to my board of directors and my sponsors and things like that. So we'll just have this open conversation. My consulting firm, Zenovia LLC, my tagline is where trusted messaging, trusted DEI messaging meets practical application. So I'm not going to talk a lot about statistics. I'm not going to, beat you down with reports and all of that. I'm really just going to talk to you about the impact of having this and what it feels like or what it should feel like from your end. So it's going to be a real interactive conversation. So I'm really excited about that.
That's wonderful. So typically when folks are having a board of directors, let's say in the business world, they might give them a title of like a chief executive officer or a chief marketing officer. Have you created titles or anything that, like roles that individual board of directors might hold in their, in terms of in your mind?
Yeah. So I don't really give them a title. I have a girlfriend who does contract negotiation, and that's what she does. And she's in HR. So I used to just take the job, right? And like, they give me my salary. I'm like, oh, yep, that's it. Thank you very much. And I move on. Well, she's like, no, that's not how that works. You have to ask for something different. So she's my finance director, right? She's my treasurer. She's like, listen, if you don't ask, they're not going to know what you need. And so that's her role because that's what she does on a daily basis. And then I have my husband, who is the president of the board, because ultimately the decision that I make affects our family. And so since that affects affects our family, he can act as and be that president when I'm making that decision. How much time is this job going to take away from my family? Am I going to have the autonomy to, move around? And I worked in education for 10 years. So I was, never worked around Christmas time. I never worked around holidays. And so with the chamber, it's like 24/7. So again, a conversation with my president to talk about, okay, this is the effect that it's going to have on the House. No one else can really answer that question for me from the outside looking in. And then, of course, you have that person in the back of the room constantly taking notes and trying to find, they're trying to find something, right? They're trying to catch you off guard. And it's okay to have that person too. And I welcome them to sit at the front of the room, because really, sometimes you need that person to say, hey, did you know this might have this effect? And so they're constantly paying attention. So everyone plays a role, but there are specific roles that are for specific people and talents and skills.
That's great. And we're getting some love here from Danette. I hope I'm saying your name right. She was giving you a bunch of love and hearts there, watching on Facebook. And so, this is a really wonderful conversation. And I've always categorized some of my folks as colleagues, friends, coaches, mentors, cheerleaders, advisors, consultants. There's so many different titles you can give people, but they can also be a husband. They can be somebody who has the devil's advocate role. But it doesn't really matter what you designate for them to give you advice on, but the advice that they give you is going to help to shape and form you in a way that maybe accelerates your rise up the ladder if you're looking for success, or maybe it's shattering the glass ceiling. Like I'm often in the role of a mentor or cheerleader, and sometimes a coach. But I love this idea of applying the board of directors to your personal life as strongly as you do to your business life if you're in business. So thank you so much for this sharing. Now, a little bit more about the We Empower You Summit, which is coming up just this Wednesday. This is going to be June the 9th. It's going to go from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And it is for coaches and consultants and authors, speakers, and others who have been fired or furloughed or laid off. And you're going to hear the likes of Zenovia as well as other speakers. We have 36 speakers lined up, and many of them are coaches, many of them are mentors and cheerleaders. So this is a wonderful opportunity if you are looking to get a little bit of a charge up from life here. COVID clearly has reared its ugly head and continues to affect our lives. How has COVID affected you this last year, Zenovia?
So, I have, and I'll just have to recognize this, and we all should recognize when we are in a position of privilege. So I've been privileged in the sense that I still have been able to work through the pandemic. Now, not going to complain that I went from working maybe 8 to 10 hours to maybe 14, 15 hours, but nonetheless, that's what the job called for. But the way COVID really has affected me, and again, I'll try to relate this back to this personal board of directors. Mental health is really important, and we need to understand that your board of directors can also be for that as well, right? So talking to my friends about, okay, I have a daughter who's in junior high school and she's going through, anxiety and being away from her classmates and doing online school. All of those things are different, right? So part of my job or part of the director's jobs is for me to reach out to them and say, okay, you have a child. How is that going? What are some of the techniques that you're using? And so during COVID-19, I've had the ability, even though I was still working, so on the surface, it looked like everything is okay, but really everything was changing around me so fast, as well as everyone else, and I couldn't really do anything to stop it. The only thing I could do is reach out to people that could help me walk through that to protect my mental health, to protect my peace, and to not make these rash decisions on maybe changing career because this one is difficult, or, where do I go for resources for tutoring, or where do I go for daycare services, or all of these different things. And so we used each other in such a way that really was more about supporting us mentally, and making sure that we weren't giving all to everyone and wasn't taking any time for ourselves. So COVID affected me the same way it affected everybody else. And I think that for me, the most important thing was protecting my mental health during COVID-19.
Yeah, such an important consideration, right? And I remember very, very clearly, I just got on my camera. I had never done a Facebook Live before, or hadn't really been using Zoom as a medium other than participating in groups. And all of a sudden I found myself speaking into this conversation about we're all in this together. And my mind said to it, hey, what's the bright side of this story? What's the lemonade versus a lemonade, or where are the rainbows instead of the rain? And it really helped to form a positive attitude in the face of even death experiences, which have been a part of my life with regard to family and friends who've lost their life to COVID. And I think that you can only do, you can never do too much when it comes to mindset, right? Because it's so important to staying above the fray of what could take a normal individual down. And certainly COVID has been responsible for that impact as well. Thank you so much. I would like you to give us some final closing thoughts here. Maybe just to take a couple minutes to give the audience that's listening some tips and tricks, strategies that have to do with your board of directors.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say, and I want to recognize this relationship, and of course, this relationship between you and I, Bettina, and of course, we do have to give credit to Blake for connecting us. But I think the bigger picture is sponsorship and understanding that you may not be. So I've had a working relationship with Blake that was strictly work. We would be on the phone 10 or 15 minutes. And one day he said, I've got to connect you with someone because I think that, you guys can do great things together. What that means to me is that he respects me as a professional and he sees me more than just this working relationship. And so he connected me with you. And I appreciate that because we have some shared goals and our mindset seems to be, somewhat the same as it relates to empowering women. And I'm so happy I met you about shattering the glass ceiling, right? And so I guess I would like to end with just women, and I'm just imploring us to do a better job of sponsoring other women. There is so much opportunity out there. And there's so much monetary opportunity as well. There's so many titles. There's more titles that you can gain than we will ever take. So what that means is just be open to giving someone else the opportunity. And what that does for you is that opens you up to I'm on plenty of board of directors for people. And I'm really that person that you should just do it. Just go ahead, girl, try to do it. And if you want me to do research, I will. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to push you to do it. If it's healthy, if it's ethical, if it's not going to challenge your mental health, Zenovia can be on your board of directors to push you to go. And so we just want to put ourselves in a position where people are asking us to be a part of that decision-making process that is very important for their family, for their life, for their, mission of their life. And so just take a look back and think, well, I was talking to, Bettina yesterday, and then I was talking to Andrea yesterday. And I thought, well, I think if I connect them together, there's something there. You would be amazed at what can come out of that. So just be a sponsor for one another and, create your own personal board of directors and be a director for someone else.
Oh, I love that. Be a director for someone else. I will be stepping up to that. I love to put myself out there as a mentor. And again, thank you, Blake, if you're watching or listening, because this is a match made in heaven, number one, and we're going to be partnering up at doing really great things. We share, of course, in common a love for supporting and empowering women specifically, as well as, of course, supporting those people that are in business. And so, again, if folks want to tap into Zenovia, how can folks get a hold of you, Zenovia, and learn more about the Kent Chamber of Commerce?
Of course. So we can be found on Facebook. You can just put in Kent Chamber of Commerce. Everything that we're doing is there. We are just ending the legislative session. So just before I got on here, we had our senators from the 33rd and 47th district giving us an update. We had King County Councilmember Dave Updegrove giving an update as well. So our job really at the chamber, if you have a business and you want low cost advertising, or you want advocacy work for your city, or you want mentorship, or you want all these different programming, that's really where you can go, is your local Chamber of Commerce. And so I invite you to visit us at kentchamber.com. You can learn about some of the different committees, the different events, and then also membership. If you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me by just emailing me at info@kentchamber.com. And again, you can just find us by Googling Kent Chamber, and we'd be happy to talk to you and how the Chamber can assist your business in moving through this pandemic, sustaining after the pandemic, and thriving in your city.
Thank you so very much for joining us here today. Again, for those of you who have been listening, we're here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and there's another way that you can connect with us, and that is through the We Empower You community, the movement, and the global summit that is coming up on June the 9th from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Come hear strategies from industry leaders that will help you to shatter your revenue glass ceiling, and will help you gain success in your business. And it is a really great opportunity to network with entrepreneurs, as well as to help you learn about doing viral promotions that you can incorporate into your business. And get this, we have 500 sponsored tickets. So you're going to want to get yours by going to weempoweryourlife.com, clicking on the Summit Tickets tab and getting your free ticket there. Or you can text my name, Bettina, to the number 555-888. And join us for this wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Zenovia. I can't wait to have you back. And the next up, we're going to have God is Inspiration. And the promotions for this week is baseball regular season finale with Eastside Catholic JV at Rainier Beach is today at 3:30 p.m. Basketball playoffs will begin this Friday, and the times for the matchups all are going to be determined on June the 4th. Again, thank you everybody for watching and listening here today. And thank you, Zenovia, for being here. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Ask most anyone if they feel empowered in all areas of their life. If they're honest, they'll likely say no. Hi, I'm Bettina Carey, and I may be only 4'9½", but what I do is big. Dream big, break through, and connect to powerful people like you. And what I'm doing is inspiring and empowering others to break through, shatter their revenue glass ceiling. And I'm here to tell you that the We Empower You community is where you're going to want to be. It's a community, it's a membership, it's a movement. And what we're doing is helping you to start and run your online business without doing a thing. We're helping you to find angel investors. Please say no. Hi, I'm Bettina Carey, and I may be only 4'9½", but what I do is big. Dream big, break through, and connect to powerful people like you. And what I'm doing is inspiring and empowering others to break through, shatter their revenue glass ceiling. And I'm here to tell you that the We Empower You community is where you're going to want to be. It's a community, it's a membership, it's a movement. And what we're doing is helping you to start and run your online business without doing a thing. We're helping you to find angel investors that you don't have to pay back, to run your own membership program where you don't have to do the work, and so much more. We are here to empower you at the We Empower You Global Summit and the weempoweryourlife.com. Visit us on the web at weempoweryourlife.com or text the word Bettina to 555-888. We'll see you at the summit.